Yes, we are. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TalkWrite podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Stinnett, and with me tonight is my co-host, Nick Sullivan, and a whole bunch of other tropical authors. So we're just going to go around the room and let everybody introduce themselves. How's that sound, guys?
Well, everybody's room might look slightly different thanks to Zoom. So I'll just say, hey, I'm Nick Sullivan, author of the Deep series, and over on my right would be John Cunningham. Tell us about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm John Cunningham. I'm the author of the Buck Riley series. Nice to be with everybody tonight.
And I think below that, I see Nicholas Harvey.
Hey guys, Nicholas Harvey. I'm the author of the A.J. Bailey Adventure series and Nora Summer Caribbean Suspense series, and co-author of Graceless and Timeless, which I think we'll talk about.
And Don Rich.
Hi, I'm Don Rich. I'm the author of the Coastal Adventure series, and all of these authors that are on here tonight appear in this book.
For a short amount of time.
For a short time.
Perish horribly.
It kills us all. I'm killed twice. David Burns killed me.
Excellent. Well, for those watching, we're hoping to have some other folks, but we have people in all different time zones and with a variety of different vacations going on. So hopefully we'll have different people pop on as we chat.
Well, Scott's on here, right? Are you here, Scott?
Wait, that's right. Scott W. Cook.
Absolutely not. And I'm on a computer this time.
Okay, the disembodied voice of Scott Cook is here. He may or may not have a camera.
Oh my God.
You thought we were dissing you. It's just because we couldn't see you.
Well, I'm just as beautiful as I was last time. One moment, your request is in process and we need to answer in the order in which it was received.
Awesome. Okay, we'll get back to Scott. It sounds like he's in a coffee can, and we'll see what it looks like when he shows up. I tell you what, let me get us rolling here. As those of us, four of us know, we are hard at work on a tropical author's novel called Timeless. For those of you that watch this show, you probably know about Graceless, which was a novella. And generally, everybody loved it. The only negative reviews we got was it was too short. So we decided to eliminate that possibility for the next book. And this sucker, it's longer than half my books. And here's Scott.
Yes.
Scott, quickly tell us what are you the author of?
4 series: USS Bullshark, Scott Jarvis, Private Investigator, Captain Cook, Age of Sail, and some other stuff.
Okay, other stuff works.
Was that fast enough?
No, that was good. I definitely. Okay, so Timeless is a tropical author's novel. It is coming out August 23rd. It is not a direct follow-on from Graceless. We just have some of the same writers and some of the same themes, but we have completely different first-person character. And I think we're going to take a moment to talk about the process. Because honestly, all you authors watching this, y'all should do this. It works.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the most fun I've had writing. I mean, to create an entire novel, it's going to take me 4 months, 3 months. But to just write 15 or 20,000 words, most of us do that on Facebook in a week. And it's a great exercise for plotters who want to try pantsing, because you don't know what you're going to get. You have no plot. There are no notes. You get a manuscript that goes right down and stops, and then you got to continue telling the story after that. And it is just fun.
And not to mention writing in something other than first person, which I know several of us do with our lead protagonists. So when you're working on the point of view from another independent character, it was a little easier this time for whatever reason. The first, it was hard with Graceless for me anyway, but this one seemed to flow a bit easier, but still a challenge.
Although I started my section and I wrote 6,000 words, and then realized it was Boone's POV. I'm like, oh crap, that's not the main person's point of view at all. But I guess at that point I took revenge and I put some other people in their point of view, but not our main characters. Our main character in this, can we say the character's name? We can do that, right?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about him.
Yeah. We're going to be following Eddie Raines, and I want to pass this over to my fellow Nick, because as with Graceless, he's the one that formed the foundation that we built the house out of.
Yeah, you can all blame me for setting it up the way.
Your flashbacks.
Yeah, so I write a lot in, especially in my AJ series. Probably every other book has flashbacks, meaning it's written in 2 time periods, and which kind of merge together. So I'm used to doing that. So I thought, oh, that'd be fun to do. And so I started off with in 1976 with Eddie Raines' father, Woody Raines, and the names all actually come from family members. So a really good friend of mine is named Woody, and my wife's family, the Raines, and which actually I was including one of them in my most recent book, and I had to change her. She's Raines, and I had to change her last name to her unmarried name, Weaver, because I realized, oh shoot, this book came out before we got Timeless coming out, and I always use Raines. And then Eddie is my father. We called him Fast Eddie after Eddie Merckx, who was a very famous cyclist in Europe, and because he loved cycling, so we called him Fast Eddie. His name was really Tony. So that's how all the names came about. But yeah, so it starts off in 1976 from Eddie's father's perspective, and then it jumps into current time, and leading into each section that we wrote, there's another flashback scene where we go back to see what's happening with Woody and what's going on in 1976, and then in current time they're trying to figure out what happened back then.
The cool part is we have one of those 1976 flashbacks to Woody as the opening chapter of each section, and you follow Woody as he's going through his adventure and his problems, and then you follow his son as he's following in his father's footsteps 46 years later. Yeah, 46 years later. And seeing some of the same places and the same things, but as in the case of the plane, completely hidden by coral. We don't want to give away too much of it, though.
Well, to like Nick Sullivan said at the beginning, one piece of advice I would give to anybody who's working on a collaboration like this, especially if they have flashbacks at each section, is make sure you read the flashbacks that happen after your section, if they're already written, or even before your section, because there may be some things already figured out. It wasn't quite as, pantsless as the first go around thanks to the flashbacks, but it was interesting.
I think I left a couple of the little clues and red herrings. I think I left at least 1 or 2 of them out. So, but we'll catch it in the editing rewrite.
Yeah, we really screwed John, because we talked about it, because I wrote the first bit and I wrote it a year ago. So when it came to everyone else doing their bits, it was like, oh yeah, that thing I wrote like 6 months ago when Nick got it. And so we talked about it, and Nick wrote his flashback scene, and we talked about it quite a bit. And then when it came to John, we sort of went, oh, well, what we could do is, it's kind of chicken and egg, exactly what happened. So here's the kind of gist of it. And I'll go ahead and write that and write the flashback for Wayne, and you go ahead and write your bit. So we both kind of beetled off and did our parts, and then came back together and went, oh, yeah, we didn't quite stay on the same rails here.
As it turns out, it all came together pretty cool.
Yeah, it didn't take much to get it back together.
It was really good.
Yeah, I think that one of the, without giving too much away, one of the biggest problems, and one of the biggest problems for Wayne, was John's, the whole thing kind of escalates and has little, up and down moments of pacing in the narration in the book. And John does a brilliant job in his section. It gets really exciting. And and then he hands it off to Wayne. And Wayne's got, it's not like the novella where you can just couple of
I've
scenes.
got to start off at 4,400 RPM,
Yeah.
squealing, and just carry that on.
Yeah. He's got a quarter of a book to write, and it's just his main, like, almost finish of the book just happened. So he did it proud.
Wayne had to insert his new characters at the height of tension, but did an amazing job. So very, very, very fun twist on how things went from there. So I think for anybody who happened to read Graceless initially, it's got a lot of similarities from the concept of, you know, establishing the story, getting to know the characters, having issues like any book, but then, you know, throwing in with each of the four authors doing their separate piece and wanting them to be compelling in their own right. It's not just you're not doing lead up for Wayne or me or Nick or whoever. You know, each section has to have its own intrigue and interest and excitement. So, but when we get to the rousing conclusion, it's pretty thrilling.
Unlike Graceless, where the main character traveled through each of our worlds, we brought all our characters to the one world. And it started off with just AJ and Nora helping Eddie out. And then Boone and Emily joined in. And then Buck joined in. And then Charity comes along. So now I've got all the characters running around doing things at the end. I had to create a chalkboard and put them on a map.
Yeah, we had people appearing where they weren't. We'd thin them out a little bit, and then all of a sudden they show up again. We're like, oh shoot!
Well, that's true.
All right, we left
Boone
him over
was there for a
He's
while.
supposed to be there.
Over there.
I was really
Where's Buck and
impressed.
Eddie? Oh, they're out there floating on a cooler.
I write Emily Durand in a very distinctive way, and it's not all that she's just South London. It's also that she's maybe borderline loopy. And I was very impressed with how everybody did her dialogue. I think I had minimal corrections to folks. And I remember thinking, oh, they've all got Emily. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time fixing Emily. Nope, not really. They did such a great job.
Dude, we've read all your books.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess that's part of it.
I can hear Emily in my head, and I haven't listened to the audiobooks, but I know exactly what she would sound like. I'll have to listen to one, see if it
Well,
matches.
some of my reviewers think she sounds a little Australian, but that's just too damn bad. If you
She's
guys
a lot of
keep
fun to
hiring
write.
Cumberbatch to play Doctor Strange from 7 different states, I can do her slightly Australian.
Emily was very fun to write. You know, she's an easy one to throw in there. She's got a great personality. She's got a good vocabulary. Got a lot of Britishisms, which comes easily for Mr. Harvey here. But and obviously you too, Nick, because you write her well. But she's definitely fun to include. I enjoyed writing her.
Nick and I are getting used to writing each other's characters. I think we're pretty seamless now. We've done this is, I don't know, it's 4th book where our characters have 4th, 5th book, I think maybe, that our characters have been around each other.
Well, I think you're counting the one where Sully shows up. I don't know that I count that one.
No, you've got 2 of yours. I've got one of mine. No, maybe I am. No, 2
Let's
of
see.
yours.
Graceless, Timeless, Rexa Largo,
Yeah.
Deep Focus,
Deep
Devil,
Devil.
Angels. Holy crap. And then one more of yours. Okay.
Yeah, 6.
And the Christmas one.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
Angels.
yep, that's Angels. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm off to Turks and Caicos, so I'm finally cutting that cord.
Speaking of sharing characters, John, I'll be finished with Cast Off in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And Buck and Ray are playing a little bit more of a part than anything we've done before. Well, we've only done one other one before, but they appear in quite a bit of the book. And Ray actually saves the day by being there.
Nice. All right. Well, I will look forward to checking it out.
So I'll get it to you in about 2 weeks. And we'll have 3 or 4 weeks turnaround time. So after the week anyway.
Look forward to it. That'll be fun. That will be I just flew through there yesterday, so I was taking copious notes through part of the settings.
Well, before this becomes a complete timeless fest, because we've got Don Rich and Scott Cook here, let's chat a little bit about the desire is to get a whole bunch of these collaborative books. We don't have anyone here who is currently writing Shameless, which is David Behrens, Douglas Pratt, Chris Niles, and Stephen Becker. So I guess we won't say anything about it. But we're hoping that that Don and Scott and some of you others will come up with something. I've been thinking about Scott's military stuff and thinking this might be an opportunity for some of us to write something completely different. Boone's father was a Dutch military officer, and I was thinking maybe Boone's grandfather was on one of those 7 Dutch cruisers that were sunk off the coast of Australia. But I don't know. My desire is to get all near 50 of us tropical authors putting together these collaborative works and combining our readership. So I'm going to shut up and see if Don and Scott have anything to say about this. And
Scott? Scott?
I see anybody waving their hand going, yeah, I'm in.
Bueller?
Yeah, it's a great idea, and that's really cool that you guys have done that. I think, though, that in order for us to do that, we have to spend a considerable amount of time familiarizing ourselves with each other's work.
yes.
I try to do it as much as I could, but it's hard. Like, I mean, I don't watch TV. I pretty much read all the time, but I'm either reading my stuff, related stuff, research. So, I've read probably more of Wayne's than anybody's, and a couple of Nick's, and a couple of you guys. I've read probably 4 or 5 of Don's. So it's just getting around. It's amazing I hate to say it, as a writer, to find time to read. I mean, there's 50 of us. So I'm working on it. I write 4 different genres, so
I think that did play a really big part in how well Graceless and Timeless just flowed seamlessly, is because the 4 of us have read it, virtually everything each other has written, or at least I know I have.
Yeah, for sure.
Wayne's the biggest one. He's written 400 books. It's tough to keep up with him. I've read a lot of Wayne, and it's only half his.
You're the one that's hard to keep up with. I can keep up with Hick, Nick, and John easy. They're like 1 book a year.
Yeah. Don, you were starting to say something?
Yeah, as Tropical Authors has expanded so much, it's difficult to keep up with everybody's books. In reading, I know I'm 4 behind right now, and I just finished my last one. It went out to the beta group today, and I literally, Nick, I swear to God, I'm gonna read your book.
Which one?
Which Nick? You owe both of us a read.
Yeah, you have to address us as Brit Nick and Hick Nick.
Brit Nick. I'm up on you, Hick Nick.
That's because I only write one.
I'm behind on Brit Nick.
Don't worry, I got some Emily for you.
Yeah, but you know what? You should really listen. You should really listen to Nick S's narration of his books, because I think you really get. If you really want to know what Emily is like, hearing him do her voice, audio really comes alive for me. I love audiobooks, so I do a lot of that whenever I possibly can.
Brit Nick.
All right, for an Australian.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I literally have listened to half of an audiobook. That's it. I prefer to read, and I'm an avid reader, and I just rip through them when I'm not writing.
Well, audiobooks, if you ever are making a 12-hour drive somewhere, that's the way to go. It will be done.
I mean, I use them when I'm working out or driving or whatever. I mean, it definitely, it's nice. We're always multitasking. So if I can listen to a book, whether it's one of mine or somebody else's, while I'm doing something else, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, same thing. I do that all the even with non-audios. I'll often have Alexa read them for me while I'm doing something else. Even for taking notes, I find it. I've been hooked on it for probably 15 years. I mean, so.
I'm buying my 3rd tank of gas for the whole year tomorrow. So
Good for you.
I guess.
Although the mention of Alexa, I have to say, for those of you, and this partly this is as a narrator, I'm saying this, but also I think as an author who sees how reviews go, don't cheap out and use AI on your audiobook, because you will get terrible reviews that will absolutely pollute your ebooks, and because Amazon kind of clumps them together. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and have a robot read your book.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And even if it's nonfiction, because they don't know what word to stress. It isn't just character voices. Everyone focuses on that. But I have listened to samples from several people, and I'm like, there are objectively wrong stresses in every single sentence in that sample. And that's the sample. That's the best thing you had to give us. And it is full of awfulness. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're better off not doing an audiobook than doing that.
Inflection is critical. And you don't get that from AI.
No. And I still love theater. And, you know, it's like cartoons versus real stage performance.
Oh yeah, remember like radio mystery theater? And they had to, with the wooden block and the pair of shoes, he would flip flop on the block, make it sound like somebody walking through a dark alley.
Yeah.
Holy.
I loved listening to that.
That's what we need. We need more Foley effects in our audiobooks.
I have done that. If someone's like eating food, I'll be like, I guess I got to eat something while I'm talking.
We got enough of this electronic crap in our, you know, in our daily lives, except for downloads of books. You know, and there's nothing like a real person reading, a real person performing.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we had some Don Rich audiobooks to listen to? Wink.
They're in the works.
And
Oh, good. Excellent.
finally.
Remember, Nick, when we had what was his name with Find Away? Vegas. Will Dagus.
Yeah,
Will Dagus at Find a Way?
Yeah, when he was on the show, he mentioned that most retail outlets like Audible or Barnes and Noble or Apple or wherever, if it's AI, they won't sell it.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its place, but I don't think it's in the entertainment industry. And that's what we're doing. We are entertainers.
Yeah, but you know what though? If I'd say let them do it, because the more people that do that and produce crap, the better we'll all look as a result. So, you know, the cream always rises to the top, I think.
Will sent me socks, so I have to go with Find a Way.
Find a Way has great swag.
Yes, they do.
Pretty sure they'll be at NINC again this year. Who else going to NINC? Harvey, I know you are.
Yeah, finally.
And
Sullivan.
no, he
Sullivan.
went diving. He's got his priorities set.
Next year.
You coming,
definitely
John?
next year.
Next
We've
year,
got
I'll go.
about, I think, 5 or 6 tropical authors going to be there. And next year I want to have 10 or 15. And it'll be, I guarantee it'll be a blast.
Well,
I'm there
can
next
we
year.
set a tropical authors get together in St. Pete's, like adjoining that, so that we don't have to pay for 2
we
sets
can
of
have it at the
tickets?
same time. There's nothing stopping anybody from staying at the Trade Winds Resort in St. Pete Beach
That's where it is, huh?
during that 4-day period, you know, but if you're registered, you can go to the different presentations, but if you're not registered, you're welcome to hang out in the lobby and talk to everybody.
We're all going to Scott's house and drink his booze.
I was gonna say, yeah, you guys can come to my house. I'm right down the street. We'll go sailing. Huh? All right.
Yeah, how far are you from Trade Winds?
Oh,
Really close, aren't you?
probably fives of minutes.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think probably like a 10-minute drive, not even. I'm on Terra Verde, which is near Fort DeSoto, if you guys know where that is.
Well, then you got to go to the tiki bar there with the folks that are going.
Well, Tiki Bar.
Here's a
Okay.
good,
Yeah.
here's a really good question on YouTube. Is there a way to get signed copy of Graceless and Timeless when it comes out by all 4 authors?
Think of all the postage on that.
How much does it cost for postage?
5, 10 grand, easy, right?
We're talking like $20 in postage to get it to
About
all of
$3 or
us.
$4 to ship a book. So
It can go media mail, so it's
What
$2 or $3 to go each route.
You do, yeah.
we'd have
Sounds
to
like
do-
a contest. Sounds
Well,
like
that's true. If we media mailed it and if people weren't in a tremendous hurry, I guess we could do that.
it would depend on where the person is, and then we'd have to send it in a way that the US Postal Service isn't going here and then back to here.
Right. No, we'll put us just like Graceless itself. We need to figure out the most efficient movement on the map.
Most efficient is you all come to Nink
Anything's
and we sign it there.
Anything is possible.
Okay. Well, let's see. No, not this time.
Oh, B for Bell is Trav. So Trav, anything is possible. We'll figure out how to do it.
Well, I tell you what, Wayne, why don't you do this? Why don't you have a contest? Whoever donates the most to Wounded Warrior gets a signed copy. You guys can figure it out that way.
That would be real easy. Anybody donates $1,000 to Wounded Warriors, I will drive to all 3 of these guys' houses.
Yeah, I mean, we could do,
We'll do selfies at each stop.
there we go. We could do a box of 20 or something and you ship them straight from Amazon to the first one. And then media mail, I think there's probably a weight limit on media mail, we can look. And if we do a box of them, then it's probably going to be more economical, so we don't have to charge too much from at the end of it.
Well, let's see. Actually,
To me, I'll sign those 50, ship them to you. You sign them, ship them to Picnic. He signs them, ship them to John. He signs them. When somebody orders them, John ships them.
or I'll sip to John if it's coming from New Jersey. Whoever did this question, it's a really good question. And after we do this podcast, we're probably going to seriously talk about doing this, not just for Graceless, but for Timeless, and maybe do it in one fell swoop. This is a good question.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing the other swag for TA, so
Yes. That's
you know.
one of the other topics I wanted to have, swag on TA. Do we have any other YouTube questions? Because that was a good one.
Let's see. The noob narrator says one day he hopes to be a narrator for the Tropical Authors Group. So
Okay.
contact Nick Sullivan and he can.
Well, go to tropicalauthors.com, go to the contact thing and send me your link to your ACX profile.
Or your Findaway profile.
Okay, or that. I'm still only making $15 a month from Findaway. Okay. Let's see.
One book in here, dude.
I know I only have one book, but it's a good way of seeing how much you get for one book.
My first Findaway check was 4 figures and it hasn't gone under that yet.
All right.
Okay then, well, that just.
Let's see. Do we have any other questions before I attempt to send us hurtling into the sun of another topic?
Start hurtling.
Okay. So one of the things we'd like to do is have a Tropical Authors get together. There used to be something called the Key West Mystery Fest, but it seems like that is sort of, and then there's something called Sleuth Fest, which I thought was really cool because it was tied with Murder on the Beach, a bookstore located in Florida that specialized in mystery, thrillers, and suspense. So earlier today, I reached out to them. later today, I actually checked and they closed in April 15th permanently. That just shows. Oh, well. But what we would like to do, we have a lot of fans of tropical authors and of all the individual authors here, and it seems like we should get together and have some fun in some location, and maybe have a signing, maybe have a few guest speakers, perhaps specialists in knowledge of, I don't know, forensics or book publishing. And we'll invite the people from that Venezuelan rum distillery. But I don't know. Let me open this up. What do you guys think? Doing it in Key West would be awesome. My concern is that would be super expensive. Maybe we start small in Apalachicola. I know that was attempted last year, but COVID was still sort of hot and heavy, but maybe we try again. It's certainly drivable. Cap Daniels said he'd come.
We lost Don.
Barron said he'd jump in my car and we'd come from Tennessee to Apalachicola.
Don was the driving force behind that. And when we lost Don, that kind of lost steam.
So for those of us watching, Dawn Lee McKenna is probably one of the top authors in this genre. And she was tied to Apalachicola, and we were trying to do a get together. Unfortunately, the timing of the universe just did not work out for us. That being said, there might be something to be said for doing an Apalachicola for the first time. But again, the Key West Mystery Fest is another option if we do it in Key West. So I don't know, if you're watching this on YouTube, jump in, tell us what you think. You know, would you be interested in coming to a signing?
You know what? Another place that might be a good idea.
Say that again.
Another place that might be a good idea, and we could probably get some free musical entertainment if we held it in Destin, Florida. That's where one of our tropical authors lives, who also makes a living as a singer and songwriter, Eric Stone.
Oh, did you say Destin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Destin. Okay. Scott, how far are you from Destin?
Cool little beach town. 120 miles.
I am from Key West, I should think. 6 hours, maybe. I mean, like I said, I'm in St. Pete, so it's that's in the Panhandle. So yeah, probably 5 or 6 hours at least, maybe more.
I mean, one idea would be wherever we do it, if we, well, it should be somewhere tropical, but if we could, you know, tag along with whether it's NINC or something like that, that there's already a lot of people coming to an event. Like I see this in Key West for Meeting of the Minds, which is primarily a music event. There's a little bit of kind of, there's some authors, I've done it several times. You know, Chip Bell's done it a bunch of times, a couple other people, Tom Dorsey's there. So you get a little bit of spillover from that, but, you know, I would think if it's people coming to participate or attend a, you know, a nice writing conference, if we kind of did something that starts before or after, could be a great way to get people who are already in town for something so they can kind of get more for their money and stay an extra day or two and join us.
No, that's good. There's probably some additional pressure on the lodging availability, but in general, I think that might be wise. There is the Sleuth Fest, which occurs yearly in Florida. That's sponsored by the Mystery Writers of America. Meeting of the Minds. Well, we'd like to do this. That's what we're saying to you, our viewers.
It would be ideal to have it in Key West.
In Key West.
So that we can work toward for, you know, 5 years down the road when prices hopefully come down. But I always loved going to the Key West Mystery Fest, and not so much for the presentations, which were great, but because it's in Key West. And what better place for a guy who writes tropical fiction to hang out, right, John?
I couldn't agree more, Wayne. And we had fun hanging out together as well. So
yeah.
Dibs on John's guest room.
Yeah, Becker, if you're watching this later, we need your marathon house. It's a bit of a drive, but it's
And the one
closer
in
than
Big
where I am.
Pine, too.
And boat.
Well,
Don't
he
forget
lives
Becker's
on
boat.
Big Pine, but I think he rents his marathon house, doesn't he?
Well, he lives up north of Fort Myers, I thought.
He's got
You
a
know
couple
what?
of houses in the Keys.
We shouldn't be talking about the. Sorry, Becker, telling you where your properties are. That's my mistake. We'll edit this out later. No, we
Yeah.
won't.
I'll just bring my I'll bring my hotel room with me.
That's right. Nick is in the vehicle that will be wherever we are signing books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably do the same thing.
We'll turn that thing into a food truck.
Wayne, do you got anything on the YouTube?
Well, Yvonne posted on there that she wanted to give me a big thumbs up for the USA Today bestseller last month. Thank you, Yvonne. That was I never realized, you know, I've always put so little stock in that. You guys know this. To be a USA Today bestseller, oh, that's you're 1/20th because you were in a book, you know, with 20 other people. But to do it legit and to do it at full price with no advertising, it was surreal. That's the only way I can say it. I woke up that morning, I went on Facebook, and who was it posted that?
Barron's.
Parents.
Yeah, David Barron's. And I was like, what? No way. And I had to go look for myself, and I looked at the wrong page. I looked at the week before. I said, no, I'm not on there. And he gave me a link to it, and I said, holy crap. Really a USA Today bestseller.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man. Congrats. Well deserved.
Amazing. Like, and tell us how it was done, Wayne.
Well,
You sell
we
a
could-
lot of books, I
Write a
believe.
whole bunch of books, and then sell a whole bunch of books. And that's, I mean, just not being Kindle Unlimited more than anything. I mean, it was very difficult because the last 2 years I've released into Kindle Unlimited for a 90-day period and then pulled out and published it wide. And this time I intentionally, with the goal of making that book a USA Today bestseller, I published it wide first and then had to take it down from all those other stores to put it back in Kindle Unlimited. And in hindsight, I would change that a little bit.
well, now that you've got the USA, you've got the rights of bragging, and you don't need to do that anymore, I suppose.
Well,
But the rest of us are going to try it with Timeless.
I do, because Cast Off, I didn't think Man Overboard was going to be a USA Today bestseller, but so I set up Cast Off the same way, and it's on pre-order wide, and when it goes live, it'll go live wide, and 1 week later it'll go into KU. But I mean, I could pull it out and refund everybody that all the wide retailers, but I don't want to do that. They waited 90 days for the last 4 books, and the Kindle Unlimited audience can wait a week. Can't do both. Sorry.
That's
All right.
an awesome achievement. Awesome.
Let me see. Don, you have actually Don and Scott, because I just worked on this Tropical Authors newsletter. Both of you have something on sale right now, I believe. So let's make sure we mention that. Scott, what do you have? Your latest is on sale, yes?
Yeah, Jarvis number 12, He That Covets, is on sale until Thursday for 99 cents. So big doings.
Go get He That Covets. And Don, is it book 4?
It is book 4, Coastal Tuna.
And that's one of your favorites, if I remember correctly.
It is one of my favorites. I really just had a ball writing it, and it was pretty well received. Scott, work on the props, dude. Props.
Yeah. You should be waving your books.
Sorry, man. I don't have any printed ones yet. I just released it, so that's one of the problems with doing collaborations. I'd love to do, but I try to do 6 books a year, so it's 7 days a week, really.
How many books a year?
6.
Whoa.
I'm writing the next Bull Shark. There's actually 2 books at the same time. I'm splitting it into 2 parallel series just for ease of just make it easy to devour. But it's challenging. So as soon as those go off to editing and beta reading, then I'm starting something else, and so it's but it keeps me off the streets, and that's important. I don't need to be on the streets.
That keeps you out of your bed. When do you even have time to sleep?
Well, I figure I'm up, put the coffee on, work till about noon, and then so I guess I type fast. I don't know. But when the stories want to come out, they have to come out. You have to let them out, or you could get sick. So
I pulled my Chesapeake series last year, and it just didn't seem to match up well with the Coastal series. The Coastal series was better received, so now I'm rewriting the Chesapeake series, and there'll be 5 books coming out between now and the end of the year, I hope.
Nice.
Well, it's all there. I just rewrite it.
But you can afford to maybe sit back and try the rapid release technique that a lot of folks don't have a shot at doing.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping to make these into a box set at some point down the way, and go for a BookBub box set, which seems a little easier to get. Not that there's anything with BookBub that's easy.
no.
Careful with that, Don. If your box set gets featured in BookBub, it and every book in it are not eligible for 6 months.
Yep, but it'll be that other series, which will end up being the prequel to the Coastal series, and of course the Coastal series will be in the back matter, or not actually the back matter, in the back page, linking into the first book of the Coastal series.
In that case, it'll work pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
How many BookBubs have you had in the last 6 months, Don?
I'm sorry, what?
How many BookBubs have you had in the last 6 months?
Bite me, Nick.
No, I'm not being an ass. Well, maybe I am, but I didn't mean to be. What I'm saying is, you haven't had one for 6 months. What the heck? If you don't have one for 6 months after you get one, I'd take that deal. If you could guarantee me one every 6 months.
Ever. I'm working on it.
I know, that's the point. I think it's a great plan.
Yeah, that's my question too. I've never gotten one either. Is there some special secret that we don't know? Because I've got books that have performed well and have lots of reviews, and they just keep telling me to pound it. So I don't know.
It's a Pilar.
Do you put them out continuously, basically as often as you're allowed?
It's all based on how often you apply. There's not a single day that goes by that BookBub isn't looking at one of my applications. As soon as they reject it, I apply again. As soon as they reject it, I apply again. It's nothing. It's just a competition. See who's going to give up first. And
I probably do it once a week.
I know the answer to that. I'm going to keep submitting until they give me one.
Okay.
There is nobody in the group that is as business oriented about this business as Wayne. And Wayne has got it down. And, the more you can follow his Facebook, the more that you can listen to everything the man says, he's got it down, obviously.
Yeah, well, I do with Wayne what Wayne does with Randy Wayne White. What he's in blue collar was whatever he does, I do. So whatever Wayne does, I tend to follow along as much as I can as well.
It's just a matter. It's just odds. I mean, if they're looking at least 2 submissions from me a week, how many weeks are going to go by before I get one?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. As long as there's no, I'll do it every day. By God,
4 months. That's 40 or 50, 60 submissions.
And you have to rotate them because you only do one they'll only look at one every 30 days. So Wayne's got a great catalog. He can just roll through them and
Well,
and multiple series. So you can
can start
alternate
off.
series.
You can start off by submitting for 99 cents, and when they reject that, submit the same book for free, and then go to the next book or the next series. Do that, then go to the next. By the time you do it 4 times, you're going to get 8 rejections, and a month will be up, and you can start all over with number 1.
Yeah.
Well, and when you have less books like I do with my 1 a years, when I felt like I'd been fallow too long, I would open up the 199s as well. As long as your next one is lower, they're fine with that. So I would go 199, 99 free, 199. And I got a couple 199s. They didn't do as well, but they did well enough. I feel like with KU read-throughs, it worked out for me.
Question for Wayne. Have you done any free book bubs?
I haven't done one since I went wide, except for Graceless. That went really, really well. And but I used to get free just about as often as I got discounted.
Yeah, I've done one free, and I think it did, in a way, it did better than any of the paid in terms
The
of
tail
what it
is a
did for me.
lot longer.
Yeah.
Well, you get 20, 30,000 downloads. That's 20 or 30,000 people who forgot that the book is on their Kindle until months later when they're going through it. Oh, yeah, I remember. I really wanted to read that one.
I think I
And
did.
your name is right in
some
your
free
face.
ones. I did some free ones on some of the earlier books in my series, and they did great. But it just got harder and harder and harder to, get them to approve it. And I probably have not been as persistent as Wayne. So that's good advice right there.
Yeah, I didn't know you could be that persistent. Could you bug them every day? So that's interesting. That's I'll increase my, because I have 20 books I can play with, so I have that many chances anyway.
And what's really cool, I've had a book bub feature deal in book 1 of the series, book 2 of the series, book 3, book 5, book 7, and book 11, and they all work. You discount the first book in the series and put the 11th one in book bub, and you're going to get a huge spike in sales on book 1. I've never had a book bub feature deal that wasn't profitable. Within a couple of times, it took longer than a day, but usually it was just one day.
Talking about how hard it is to get a book bub these days, you look at it 3 years ago, I think Amazon had what, 2 million books in their catalog, and now it's over 10, maybe 11 million books. So the competition is just getting more and more fierce every day.
And everyone's reading the same stuff that you can find online and taking the same courses, just telling them to do all the same things, which is why the cost of Amazon ads, cost of Facebook ads have all gone up. The price of playing is through the roof, which is just why it only works if you have a series. Just trying to work with one-offs or 1 or 2 books is, you cannot pay for it.
And if everybody has access to the same strategies and the same promotion, obviously the X factor is make sure your book's good. You need a good book. It needs to be clean. Don't have typos in it. Don't ask your daughter to do it, your cover on Photoshop. You need to make sure that all the aspects of your book make it stand out, and also ensure that it's going to get good reviews.
You just gave me a great proofreader, and
yeah,
man,
no,
awesome.
We've been waiting on her to finish yours so she could do Timeless.
She's done.
Good.
Well, Yvonne on YouTube had to bow out. She's watching from work and headed home. So good night, Yvonne. And I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay, well, it's nice. I'm going to go on to our Facebook thread. So talk amongst yourselves. Let me see if I can find anything.
Hey, Don, I've got a question for you. I saw your recent post about a nice Bahamian island that we've both been to and enjoyed before. I don't know if you talked about this publicly, but I'm hoping you're going to write a book about what you were talking about.
I am. That is definitely in the works for next year. And Yeah, he when I emailed him or when I messaged him last year, they had obviously already found it and they were working it. It was just back and forth with the Bahamian government. And it's gonna be about treasure, kids.
They hadn't made it public, had they?
I'm sorry?
They hadn't made it public.
No, they did not.
When you wrote to him, he was like, how does this guy know?
He was probably out there looking at binoculars, like, where the hell's this guy?
This last book that I just wrote, Coastal Currency, I had two different things that I put in the book, and as I'm still going along writing, poof, they pop up in the news. They actually happen
on Facebook. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's fun.
I don't think the Bahamian government has put out a salvage permit in several years. It's just not something that they allow or want to happen. But if you've already found it, I guess it's kind of like, well, they're going to look for a piece of the action anyway.
It's kind of like, well, okay, I've got this stuff. You want me to go dump it back? Oh, the picture of
so no.
yeah, the picture of the one chain that they found was just, it made the one from the Atocha look like, yeah, that's junk. I think it's just incredible, and the emeralds are just incredible.
I have to say, I did a book signing at the Atocha Museum for my second book, Green to Go, because it was involved the theft of that treasure. And Sean Fisher set me up in the treasure room, and he had that same chain you're talking about. It's like 10-foot long chain. He had a 60-pound silver bar, like big emeralds like that, all on my signing table. They had like $10 million worth of treasure on that table. It was pretty fun. I tried to sneak out the back and say, you can keep the books, I'll just take this chain.
Did you get a picture with the chain like
yeah, I got it all. I got all that. So you'll have to, when you do that book, you'll have to get that chain that you're signing. You'll have to do a, you have maybe to do one down there, but that's okay.
There's, with every single treasure find, there's one iconic piece, and that chain was, and this chain is, and and then the plates from off of Vero Beach.
1715 fleet.
Yeah.
Well, for those watching, treasure hunting is just such an important part of a lot of these books, and some folks specialize in it more than others. Buck Riley and John series is the treasure hunter par excellence. But Tropical Authors just added another treasure hunter writer, and that is Hep Aldrich. So check him out. He's got his fourth book just came out. Today, August 1st. Hep Aldrich. And we're hoping all of Hep's readers will start reading the Buck Riley series, and all of Buck's readers will read Hep's series. That's what we're all about.
That sounds like
There's
fun.
a few other new releases today, aren't there, Nick?
What's that?
There's a few other new releases.
There were a bunch of new releases, but
Deb
you're going to
Brown,
make me open up another window and explode my Zoom. I'll take a look. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Well, speaking of the 1715 fleet, this is a gold Escudo from 1708 that sank in that fleet that Kim Fisher found when he was 9 years old. That's Mel's son. So I got that from him, which was pretty cool. But yeah, my last book, Indigo Abyss, involved the 1715 fleet. So I had this kind of natural sense that I had to be a part of it somehow. And of course, we all want to go diving and find our own piece of 8 or real, a cob coin. But sometimes it's just easier to do the deal. But I had to have a little bit of the reality to inspire me.
Do you know if they still have the museum in Vero Beach as well? His daughter.
Sebastian Inlet.
That's a Sebastian Inlet.
Yeah, in fact, they
just north of there in Melbourne, and used to surf Sebastian Inlet, fish there, and all this time, all that treasure was down there. And then when they started finding it back in the late 60s, early 70s, the Real 8 Club. You remember that, John?
Yep.
That was and I became a member of the
Kip
relay.
Wagner.
I was like 12 years old.
Oh, yeah. I think Kip Wagner, was it Kip Wagner, the first guy?
Yeah,
who
Kip
was so fun?
Wagner, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
a really cool. He was a really cool guy.
Then Mel
The
Fisher
guy,
worked with him before he ever started going after the Atocha and had a lot of success there.
the guy that owned
I'm
that
amazed.
particular island before this fellow was a treasure hunter. Actually, he was an inventor that did very well, and he funded numerous treasure hunters in the area in the northern end of the Abacos. And I was on my honeymoon, and they were doing a dig, and my wife and I got to dive one of their digs, one of the holes. They're blowing holes with the mailboxes, and it was not, that one didn't turn out to be a treasure ship, but so this guy was into it. So then he dies. The kids sell the island to this other guy who's also into treasure hunting, and he hits. Don't you know the kids are upset?
Bev's going to Vero Beach in November, and he wants to know what to do while he's there. The Fisher Museum just south of Sebastian Inlet, it's north of Vero Beach a little ways. That's a must-see. And that's on the same grounds as the, well, it's not on the same grounds, but it's right next door to the SEAL Museum, the Navy SEAL Museum, where they trained the original frogmen. And of course, down in Vero Beach and Fort Pierce, if you're a scuba diver, you can literally wade into the water just about anywhere, swim out 100 yards, you get to the first ledge and move up and down that ledge. You'll see tropicals, and you may see some cannons. There's a lot of that, a lot of parts and pieces of that fleet. There were 17 ships went down right there all at one time. And they're just strewn all over.
It's pretty cool how many of the treasure hunters are actually following the tropical authors on Facebook too.
I know Bill Black is, isn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Black is, Ed Stevens, several others. Actually had one of them lived on my street in Lake Clark Shores when I lived in Florida. Frogfoot Weller.
Oh, really?
One of my professors in undergrad was involved in the SS Central America expedition. And I sort of use this in deep focus in my fake expedition. He was part of the marine biology thing, and he pretty much told me they were window dressing. They were after the gold, but they wanted to have, oh, well, we're going to look into the environment. But it's like, no, they were just trying to find the gold.
Did you see the one off South America?
Oh, the big one.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real deep too. It's like,
And they're all fighting over whose it is.
Yeah.
that Frogfoot Weller you mentioned, Don. He was one of the original members of the Real Lake Society.
That's right.
Society of the Real Lake Club.
Yeah, he had a cannon in his front yard.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour, guys. It's hard to believe an hour's already gone by. I want to thank all of y'all for being on here. I like doing these hot tropics, and the more we can have on here, the more fun it'll be. So all the rest of you tropical authors who got the email, because I know you did, and I know you didn't. Okay, well, next month, well, not next month, 4 months from now is your next opportunity. Be here or what?
Be square.
No, that's, you got to use there. Be there or be square. Be here or be, I'm not going to say it.
That does not go down a good road. Yeah.
Oh, that was
These are fun. Do these. You'll enjoy yourselves.
Yeah. So I'm getting a message here.
And bring your props.
Bring your props.
Mine are back there somewhere.
I did. Look, it's right there.
I have a koozie.
You're
I have
despicable.
koozies right here.
Nice.
The next time
You've
we
got
do,
swag. We didn't talk about swag. Next time.
the next time
Next
we do
time.
hot tropics, Don, I'm going to out prop you. I guarantee.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for being on here. And as always, thanks to our supporters. Tropical Authors, Pirate Radio, Aurora Publicity, How Not to Sell. Who am I missing?
Town Island Publishing.
Publishing, yes. And everybody and all our readers. I mean, where would we be without you readers? Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for reading our books and for taking a chance on somebody else in the group just based on what we say. And it really means a lot. So have a good
That's the
evening.
most important thing.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Good seeing you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, seeing you. Evening.